Hi, happy January. My name is Emily Good and I am a mom of two. I'm a yoga instructor and I'm also a reader. Today I am talking about what I did in December. What did I read? What did I listen to? How did I spend my time? And honestly, it was a great reading month for me. I listened to several books. I read several books. I kept very much in line with my TBR. I can no longer say that I'm not a person who sticks to my TBR because I stuck to my TBR and it's very exciting to me. My goal was to read 7 of the 9 physical books that I had on my TBR. I ended up reading 6 of those, and I also listened to what was on my TBR. So I was consistent. I made a goal and I stuck with it, and I'm very, very proud of that. So allow me to get into what I did in the month of December. By the way, I hope that you had a wonderful December. It can be kind of a hectic month. It wasn't hectic for me at all. I just kind of did my own thing and had a good time. So yeah, so I hope that you had a wonderful December as well. So let's get into it. Here's the first book that I read and finished. It literally feels like forever ago that I read this. It's Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Legends and Lattes. So the main character is an orc, and lots of blood has been shed at her hands. She's had a super violent past, as I guess is typical for orcs. That's what they do. I don't know anything about this. This is my first real fantasy book that I've ever read. So bear with me here. I don't know much about it. But yeah, she's an orc. She's been violent. She's been living a way that she doesn't want to live anymore. She wants to change her life. So she ends up moving to this new town, and she wants to make a new name for herself, and she wants to do that by opening up her own coffee shop. Now, in this little town that she goes to, nobody knows anything about coffee. Nobody knows what it even tastes like, nothing. Well, here she comes and she opens up her own little lovely coffee shop. She meets some friends. She ends up getting a pastry chef who makes these lovely little pastries that everybody loves. And it's basically a town coming together to come together. I mean, that's what it is. I gave it 3 stars. I wasn't gripped. And I think that that's very much the point of this book. It was lovely. It was cute. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't dying to sit back down to read it at any point. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. I know that people have been talking. It's been off the chain here on BookTube. Lots of people have been talking about it. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't recommend it. Do I feel like I'll ever read it again? Probably not. Do I feel like I'll recommend it a whole bunch? Probably not. And there's nothing personal about that. I wasn't it's low stakes. It's very low stakes. And I felt like I kept being like, oh my God, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? And it never did. And that was okay. It was cute and it served its purpose for me. And that's what I have to say about Legends and Lattes. So yeah. Okay, now I also wanted to read a couple of Christmassy books because I wanted to read some Christmassy books. And I ended up reading 2. I picked out 4. I got 4 from the library, and I ended up reading 2 of those. And the first one of those was John Grisham's Skipping Christmas. Now, let me explain it to you as if you've never heard of Christmas with the Cranks before, because you very well may have not. Skipping Christmas, if you have watched Christmas with the Cranks, that's what Skipping Christmas is. It's literally exactly that. I'm sorry, I know that the light is coming in, but just believe me when I say we are looking at a street here filled with snow, and there's frosties on top of the houses. This is very consumerist America, and it's brought to the forefront of the story. It's Christmas parties that you have to go to. It's spending money. It's buying the calendar. It's doing all of the things that some people get really stressed out about for Christmas. And Luther is like, you know what? our daughter is away this year. This is our first time spending Christmas by ourselves since we had her. And she's off in Peru or wherever she's at, like doing something with a Peace Corps. And he's like, you know what? We spend all this money on Christmas every year. Why don't we go on a cruise instead? And it's the craziest idea. It's the craziest concept according to their neighborhood. Nobody agrees with them. Nobody is on board. But Luther is like, I am going on this cruise. It was honestly really cute. They, like, as a couple, end up losing weight. They both go tanning together. It's honestly really cute. And I enjoyed it a lot. I ended up giving it 4 stars, but now that I look at my list, I'm like, why did I give it 4 stars? It was okay. It was cute. It was enjoyable, but it was literally exactly the same. It was pretty much exactly the same as watching the movie, which in a way I liked, but in a way I'm like, why am I reading this? I could just go watch the movie. So yeah, it was a cute book. It was enjoyable. It did get me into the Christmas spirit. But yeah, that's what skipping Christmas was. It was cute. Would I ever read it again? Probably not. I wouldn't feel the need to, but it was okay. It was okay. I really loved this book, Forever Christmas by Robert Tate Miller. I don't know why sometimes my voice like goes up and I get really excited. And that's what just happened there. So this is Forever Christmas by Robert Tate Miller. I loved this. I thought that it was so cute. It's the exact type of story I was kind of looking for. It wasn't super romantic. I wouldn't say. So basically, there's this couple. Picture the movie The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. If you've never seen it, please watch it. It's like one of my absolute favorites. I couldn't find it anywhere on any streaming service, but I highly recommend you watching it. And it kind of reminded me of that. It reminded me of The Family Man, Nicolas Cage. It also sort of kind of reminded me of, I don't know, I guess kind of like also It's a Wonderful Life vibes too. Okay, so let me tell you what it's about. So this guy he's super corporate. He's like an editor of he's like a writer or something. And him and his wife are living in New York City, and he's gotten super into his job. So he's got this super cute, sweet, loving, fun wife at home who's all into Christmas. She's all excited. She loves her husband. She loves her life. And this guy is kind of a Scrooge. He's kind of miserable in his life. He sort of starts flirting with this young, hot girl that he's working with, and like, makes a little mistake. I don't think he, whatever. He ends up making like some type of mistake, and he gets caught in it. And he gets given a gift, let's say. Something happens, and divine intervention comes in and gives him a chance to appreciate his life for the way that he had it, basically. And it takes you along his journey of starting to appreciate what he has. It was so cute, honestly. So you can see that this is a library book. I might end up finding a physical copy to have, because it was so cute. It was like a little gut-wrenching thing that happened on Christmas Eve that ended up changing some lives. So it was cute. It was a cute book. I gave it 3 stars because, is it my favorite book? Like, will I think about it for the rest of my life? No, just because it was so similar to The Family Man. But it was cute. It was an enjoyable Christmas read. It was what it needed to be for me. So I was thankful for Forever Christmas by Robert Tate Miller. Okay, I'm to my last 3 books. So here's something that is very different than the other 3 that I talked about. That is The Drifting Classroom. Apparently this is a very popular horror book. It's by Kazu Umez. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This is my first ever, I think it's considered manga. I'm thinking it's considered manga. But it's a horror. So the drifting classroom, let me get into talking about what it's about. So one day, you zoom in, okay, and there's the school, and all of a sudden there's like this loud crash banging, and all of a sudden the school is gone. So you've got the parents of the school children standing outside of the school like, what the hell just happened? Like, where are my kids? And then on the other side of it, you've got the kids in the school with like the teachers and stuff. And everybody's like, what the hell is going on? When they look outside, it's like this, they are not home. They are not in Kansas anymore. And it was really, it was wild concept, wild way to start a book. It was interesting to watch the like anarchy come. It was interesting to see the way that people who get thrown into this wild situation, like how would teachers react? How would the lunchman react? Like how are the older kids gonna react with the younger kids? Like, what do you do for food? It was wild. This is the first book of, I think, 3. I enjoyed the reading experience. I gave this 3 stars as well. I don't know. I think I'm having a harder time giving like 4 or 5 stars lately. Just because I'm like, how has this book impacted my life? Was this a scary book? Was it like a really good horror book where there were like several times where I was like, I needed to keep reading and like find out what the hell was going on? Yes, absolutely that happened. But will I buy the second 2 books so that I have it all on my bookshelf? Probably not. Again, it was good. It was enjoyable, but I wasn't totally gripped. But it was a super interesting plot. And you know what? There was a time in there where I was like, oh my God, it's kind of like Stranger Things. It was kind of like, it like really reminded me of Stranger Things. And I always love to, and I don't know if that's what Stranger Things is about, or not about, but based off of, was the drifting classroom, because there was a part in the drifting classroom that was so similar to a part in Stranger Things, and I was like, is that where the inspiration came from? I have no idea. I literally have no idea because I've never read this before. But yeah, the drifting classroom, again, it was interesting. I don't know if I feel the need to like keep reading or to find out what happens next. I didn't particularly care about any of the characters really, but I'm glad that I'm glad that I read it. Okay, so on to my last 2 physical books, and then I'll tell you the books that I listened to. I did give this one 5 stars, which is wild to me. I would never think that I would give like a romance book, like especially dark romance, 5 stars, but that's I literally enjoyed this book so much. I did make a vlog of my reading experience with it, and I'm so glad that I did. Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I enjoyed this book so much. So it is not a retelling. It's not the real Peter Pan. Like, Wendy is Peter Pan's daughter, actually, and Peter Pan is Peter Michaels in the book, and Hooked is this hot, dreamy villain, basically, and it's not actually Peter Pan. It's just based off of the characters of Peter Pan. So I loved it so much. So you've got Peter Michaels, who is this businessman, him and his family. His daughter is Wendy, and I can't remember what the son's name was. But they move here. Wendy's hot, obviously, and she goes out for the first time with these girls to this club called the Jolly Roger, which Hook owns. And Hook catches sight of her. It's like lust at first sight, and then he finds out that Wendy is Peter Michaels' daughter, and Hook has got some beef with Peter Michaels because Peter Michaels is actually a terrible man in this book. So it was so good. There were parts but okay, so I read this about the same time that I was reading Haunting Adeline, And the way that this was done, the smut, the sex scenes that were done in this, to me, were less cringeworthy and hooked than they were in Haunting Adeline. I should not be comparing the two because they're just so totally different, but I was reading them both at the same time, and I don't know. I couldn't help but compare. I couldn't help but compare because I was listening to Haunting Adeline and I was reading this, and I kept thinking like, oh my God, I love the way that this is done so much more. There was just so much more story than there was smut, that like by the time it got to the smut part, the sexy part, I honestly, I don't know if I'm using the smut word right. I assume that smut means sex stuff, but I could be totally wrong, so I should probably stop saying it until I know for sure. So bear with me if that's not the right way to say the word, or to use the word, because I just assume, which I know I shouldn't do. But yeah, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. I loved Hook. I loved Wendy. I normally don't like I don't know, I just feel like the more and more like the books that I read, like the female protagonist is just annoying to me, and I don't know why that's happening. But Wendy did not get on my nerves, not a single time. Like I really, really liked her. I really liked Hooked. I really liked the way that everything came together. I can't say enough wonderful things about it. I feel like if you haven't read this book and you like some smut, like some, now, if you like a tough, like, manly character who might force himself on the character a little bit, then I think you'll like it. If you don't like any type of forcing on, I don't know, look up the trigger warnings yourself. I don't know what a trigger would be with this book, but look it up if there is anything that you don't want to be reading about. I recommend like looking up what the triggers are, because I honestly don't know what the triggers would be in here, but I'm sure that there are some. So I highly recommend this book. This is my 5-star read, which again was so shocking, but it was a 5-star for me all the way. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And now I want to get the other Emily McIntyre books. So I was kind of disappointed. Hooked is a standalone, but she has written, I guess that, yeah, there's the Never After series, but I don't think that the other 2 books that are in the series are going to be going along with these same characters. I think that they're going to be different characters, a different fantasy, a different fairy tale. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I would like to check out her other ones just because I did enjoy this one so much. Okay, and here's my last physical book that I read, and that was Untouchable. I made myself wait till the end of the month because otherwise it would have been hard for me to read anything else other than the next book in this series. So now that's for January, maybe. I don't know yet. But yeah, that's Untouchable. This is the Private series by Kate Ryan. I have talked about it a little bit. I do have a vlog where I talk about how this was my favorite series as a 16-year-old. So it was so enjoyable to turn back to. And honestly, I'm enjoying it a lot. This book, I felt like I was having a harder time like being gripped. I was having a harder time being gripped because I had just finished Haunting Adeline. I had just finished Hooked. I was like, this now seems kind of like a juvenile type of romance to me, but still enjoyable. Still got a lot going on. Still a lot of different secrets are happening. Lots of different revelations are happening for Reed. And so if you don't know the Private series, so you've got Reed Brennan. She's poor. She comes from like Croton, Pennsylvania, and she gets this scholarship because she's really good at soccer. And she goes to the prestigious Easton Academy where she meets this group of girls, hot. The daughters of, like, there's a model, they're the daughters of the richest of the rich, and they're all like at this boarding school, and she makes friends with them. And then there's a murder, and now we're kind of reeling with all of it. I think it's a very well done series. I am enjoying it very much. in this one, some different things are coming to light, and I thought for sure that it was this book that we got to who actually killed the boyfriend, but we didn't. So there's still another book that we still have to get to. So it's taking a little bit longer to get to like the part that I really, really, really remember, but that's okay for me. So if you're looking for like a super easy series to get into, you like teen fiction, let's say you like teen fiction, let's say you like a poor girl trying to get in with the rich girls and kind of getting to see like a rich, I don't know, every once in a while I want to read like about a bunch of rich young girls who don't have any problems. I just need to read that for myself, probably for the same reason that I watch trashy TV, because I don't want to think and I want to be a part of their world for a little bit. So that's what this is to me. Do I think that I'm learning anything from these books? No, but they're very, very enjoyable to me. And this is the third book of the private series. So those are the physical books that I read. And now let me check out my list so that I can get it straight what all I listened to. Hang on. Okay, so I listened to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I listened to 5 audiobooks this month. And that sounds impressive, but it's really not, because I'll go into what 2 of them were, and it was nothing like longer than a couple of hours each. So not that you were impressed, but if you were impressed, I invite you to not be too impressed, because they were really short. So I did finish Darkly Dreaming Dexter, which is the first book in the Dexter series. My brother and I share Audible, and he started listening to it, and he's been taking all of my credits with it. So I finally was like, okay, well, I may as well start listening to this. And I started it, and I have never watched the Dexter series. I've never watched it. But fun fact, the Michael C. Hall, he spoke at my acting school graduation. So I do have a little bit of a connection with him, I will say, but I have never watched the show from beginning to end. I've watched just a couple episodes here and there, and I always enjoyed it. But here's what I'll say about the book. I have heard that the books are way better than the series. I think that they're very different. Austin, my brother, has said how different they are, and he won't say whether he thinks that they're better or worse. He's just saying that they're different. But what I've read online is that the books are more plot driven, more like into who Dexter is, more into like him as a killer, I guess. Whereas the show, I've heard, it's kind of more of a body count. Like he's just killing people left and right. That's what people say online. I enjoyed very much learning about Dexter. It's fascinating to read a book about a serial killer and to come to really, really, really like the serial killer. I am not a person who laughs out loud a whole lot, but with this character, the way that he's written by Jeff Lindsay, fantastic author. I want to read more of his stuff. And I will get to this whole series. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. So I ended up giving that 4 stars. Love the narrator. I'm actually pretty sure that it's narrated by Jeff Lindsay, the author. So yeah, he's basically a serial killer in Florida, and he ends up in this first book, he's like, somebody else is killing people, and Dexter is like, who the hell is doing this? Like, it's super clean cuts, no blood. Like he's very envious. He wants to know who is killing these people better than he is. And so it took you on that little ride. Okay, and here are the next 2 that I'm not going to talk a whole lot about. It was cute. It was easy. The Weirdies, and the Weirdies Get Weirder. Those are 2 of the audiobooks that I listened to. Very short, less than 2 hours each, I'm pretty sure. It was just cute. They were read by, Kate Winslet. So that was nice. It was nice to hear Miss Kate reading, about these. There are 3 kids. I don't know if they're triplets or if they're just siblings. Honestly, I can't remember. But basically, they're constantly creating havoc. They've got all these things that they do, and nobody wants them. Like, their parents go missing or something like that, and now they end up like in this orphanage. Well, they get this super nice, I can't remember what the lady's name is, but she's the sweet, like, picture Miss Honey and Matilda. Picture Miss Honey. She's super sweet. She loves everybody. She just wants the kids to be loved. She just wants to show them love. And that's pretty much the gist. These kids love her. They try to be good for her. And it's just kind of a story of acceptance. It was a nice little listen. It was cute. And it is exclusive to Audible. You cannot buy those physical books, and I don't think you could get it like on Libby or anything else. It is exclusive to Audible. So that was cute. Let me get to my last two. I listened to Haunting Adeline, and I also listened to Hunting Adeline. So Haunting Adeline is first, Hunting Adeline is second. I did not read. There is like another book that you're supposed to read before reading Hunting Adeline, which I didn't read, and I can't even remember what it was. And I got through just fine. But okay, let me get into what I thought about it. So Haunting Adeline, okay, you start out with, you've got the stalker guy. He discovers Adeline pretty quickly in. Adeline is an author, and he becomes obsessed with her. He starts stalking her. He finds her, and he's the cat. She's his mouse. So he's chasing her everywhere. And he's like letting her know. He like leaves roses all about, and that's the gist. That is the gist. And honestly, I ended up really loving the story. I ended up really, really loving the stalker. Zaid is the stalker. I am obsessed. I don't know how many times I've already said it on this channel, even before doing this whole wrap up. I love Zaid. I love him, love him, love him. Do some things happen that are cringy? Does he do some things in there that, like, at first, before I ended up loving him, I was like, okay, this is a lot to hear. I don't have any triggers. I don't get taken back to like a negative time in my life. So like for me, I can listen to things that are like that. But do I always want to? No. So it's not typically my thing, and I will not lie to you. It was difficult for a little bit to get into it and to really enjoy it. But here's what I'll say. Once I got past that, and once I got to know Zaid better, and once I got past the girl, what the hell was her name? I can't even think, and I just finished Hunting Adeline a couple days ago. Mouse. I'm just going to call her Mouse because I can't remember her name. There were several times where like she was annoying to me. Like, you know, he stalked her and he did some things to her that were pretty messed up, and I'm not condoning that. But like some of the time it was like she wanted it to happen, and like she would like antagonize him, and she like enjoys being scared. Like she gets turned on by being scared, but then she would like act like to him like she like was just I don't know, it was just kind of annoying to me. And it's like, if you're saying no, then you say no, then you mean no. Like no means no, absolutely, without a doubt. But there were times where she was like saying that she didn't want it, but she actually did, and she would do things that like, I don't know, I mean he was gonna do it anyways, but like she just like in her head, like her inner dialogue was annoying to me, and her actions were annoying to me, and I just didn't love her. Loved him, didn't love her. So that was kind of interesting for me. That was an interesting listening experience for me. So yeah, I got through Haunting Adeline, and it ended up like, I was like, okay, well, I need to know now. I need to know, what does Zaid do with this information? What is he gonna do? It ends up leading you on this like chase that was honestly very good. What could I have done without? What could I have done without? What would have made this a 5-star? Because I'm pretty sure I still gave, what did I, Haunting Adeline, I could have done without the sex scenes. I could have done without a lot of the sex. Like, it could have been way taken down for me, and I would have been completely thrilled about it. A lot of the sex, I was just like, okay, this is annoying. Like, there were, even in the second book that I enjoyed a lot more, I have heard that people don't enjoy the second book as much. I think because it's darker, and that was actually what I liked better. I liked Zaid and her having to take some space. I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed seeing Zaid fight for her, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. But what will not make it a why it's not a 5-star read for me, because again, I did enjoy it so much, is the sex. I did not need all of it. I didn't need all of it at all. And that was my least favorite part about it. It was too much. It was like too much. There was so much, like, it was so intense constantly. And I enjoy some intense sex. And I enjoy reading about some intense sex. But, like, what it was, like, it was constantly, like, it seemed so repetitive a lot of the times. Like, I guess I don't need to tell you, like, what I didn't like about it. There was just, like, the sex. I was like, okay, I'm just skipping. I'm skipping, like, I'm constantly, like, flashing forward 30 seconds to see, like, is it over yet, man? Like, I need for this to stop. I need to get back to the story. I need to get back to the killing. I really need to, like, I need for this part of it to be over. So both of those were 5 stars, and I actually didn't write down that I finished Hunting Adeline in here. But yes, so those were the books that I read in the month of December. I am so proud of it. I followed all I stuck with my goals for December with posting so many videos. I was keeping track. I am very, very proud of the progress that I made on my channel and with reading this month. It was a very good month for me, and I'm really happy that I had it, because I've always been a person that's like, oh God, I can't stick to my TBR. Like, I make these TBR videos, and I make this TBR, and I don't stick to them, and that was always kind of disappointing to me. And now I am a girl who sticks to my TBR. I can be that person. I can absolutely be that person. So those are my books that I read. I'm so proud of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Have you read any of these books? It was kind of a random selection of books, but I'm so happy I had a wonderful reading month, and thank you so much for watching. Take good care.